Hello class, today we're going to talk about angles of a triangle. Now the reason why we're talking about this is because the standard that we're looking at right now is use informal arguments to establish facts about the angle sum and exterior angle of triangles. That's what we're looking for right there. Alright, so what we have about triangles is that we do know that there's one thing about triangles that's always true, and that's the triangle angle theorem, which states the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So the one thing that we know, okay, about triangles, and we learned it all the way back to the 5th grade, is that if I take one angle of a triangle, add it to the second angle of a triangle, and add it to the third angle of a triangle, I will always get 180 degrees. Okay, and that's proven for every single triangle around. So with that in mind, let's look at a 5th grade problem. Here's a 5th grade problem. Okay, you're asked to find the value of x. Well, in this particular case, the value of x is one of the angles of the triangle. So based on this triangle angle theorem, stating that I can add the three angles up and get 180 degrees, that's what we're going to do to solve this. Okay, so to solve for x, I'm going to take 47. I'm going to add 58 to it. I'm going to add x to it. And I'm going to get 180 degrees out of it. Okay, so now if we think back to our algebra, okay, one of the things that I've taught you to do is that if there's anything on one side that I can put together, put it together. Okay, so we're going to take 47 and 58, add that together. And if we do, we end up with 105 plus x is equal to 180. And now we need to solve for x. Okay, so I need to get rid of this 105. So I've got a plus 105, so we're going to add its opposite. Okay, so we're going to add a negative 105 to it, which means I got to add a negative 105 to the other side as well. And we find out that those 105s cancel. X is equal to 75. So the value of x in this particular triangle is 75 degrees. So if I were to add 47, 58, and 75 together, I would get 180 degrees. So let's see if you can do one on your own before we actually bump it up to the 8th grade level. So pause the video and find x for me. Okay, let's see how you did. Okay, so if we actually look at this one, we're going to take x plus 96 plus 21, and that's going to equal 180 degrees. So again, we're going to take the 96 and the 21 and add that together, and we end up with x x plus 117 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to subtract 117 from both sides, and we end up with x equaling, so we go to our calculator and do 180 minus 117, and you should find out that x is equal to 63 degrees. Okay, so in this problem, the measure of the missing angle is 63 degrees. Excellent. Okay, so that is a 5th grade problem, just finding the value of a single angle when we know that the three angles of a triangle will always equal 180. So let's bump it up to an 8th grade problem. Here's an 8th grade problem. Okay, and this is the level of thinking that we have to get to in our class. So here we have the same problem. We have a triangle. We know the three angles of the triangle, but there's part missing, and that's the x. But we do know that if I take this 31, and I take this box, which is representing a right angle, so we know that that's going to be 90 degrees. And if I take the value of this angle, which is 3x minus 1, if I add all those together, I know that that's going to equal 180. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. 31 plus 90 plus 3x minus 1 is going to equal 180 degrees. Now the object in this one is not to find the missing angle, but to find out the value of x. Okay, so I know that one of the things that I'm going to do, and I've always done, is if I see any minus in an equation, I'm going to fix that. Okay, so that I can rearrange some things. So now I'm going to take this 90 and this 31, add that together, and that's going to give me 121. But then I know I've got a minus 1 over here. So 121, take away 1, gives me 120 plus 3x is equal to 180. So now we do the same thing that we did on the last ones. I get rid of my 120. I get rid of my 120 over here. I subtract 120 from both sides. And I end up with 3x, oops, not 3. I don't know what I'm writing there. 3x is equal to, well, 180 take away 120 gives me 60. Okay, so now if I divide both sides by 3, I find out that the value of x is 20. So the value of x is just 20. Now that's not 20 degrees, that's just 20. Now if I want to find the value of this angle, I can then just substitute in the value of 20 into that, and that will give me the value of the angle itself. So if we did that, we would do 3x minus 1. Well, I take my 20, I plug that in, so that'll be 3 times 20 minus 1 will give me the actual angle measure. So 3 times 20 is 60, minus 1 is 59 degrees. So the measure of this angle is 59 degrees, but the value of x is 20, which is what the question asked for. So that's kind of the 8th grade level of finding the missing part in a triangle based on the fact that the 3 angles of a triangle will equal 180 degrees. Now there's a couple other things that we have to talk about dealing with triangles. And one is exterior angles. It says in order to comprehend the next theorem, we must learn 2 more terms that describe angles. The angle formed by one side of the triangle with the extension of another side is called an exterior angle. So if I look at this right here and I extend this side and I just extend it on out and it intersects right here at this angle here, this is considered an exterior angle of that triangle, okay, because it's outside the triangle. Well, that exterior angle has some properties that we need to understand. And here's what that property is. It says the 2 angles that are not adjacent, adjacent means side by side or attached to, or next to, the exterior angle of the triangle are called remote interior angles. So here's my exterior, okay, here's my exterior. This angle right here would be its supplement. Well, the angles opposite that, this one and this one right here, are called remote interior angles. Now why do we need to know that? Well, because this exterior angle is equal to the sum of the 2 remote interior angles. So the exterior angle theorem says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of the measures of the 2 remote interior angles. Okay, so if I take this angle, angle 2, and angle 1, add those together, I'm going to get the amount needed for that exterior angle. So let's see if we can put that into practice. So here is an example. Okay, it says find the measures of angle 1 and 2 in the figure below. Well, there's 2 ways to find the measure of angle 2. Okay, one way is you could find the measure of angle 1 and then subtract that amount from 180 because I know angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary. Okay, so if we did that, if I take the 42 and the 30, add that together, subtract that from 180, that's going to give me the measure of angle 1. Now, if I know the measure of angle 1, I could subtract this from 180, and that would give me the value of angle 2. Okay, or we could just look at the fact that based on that theorem that we just said, that if I take these 2 angles, add them together, I will get the exterior angle. Isn't that what I just did right here? So 42 plus 30 gives me 72 degrees. So I could find this angle, angle 1, and subtract from 180 to get angle 2. Okay, or I could add 42 and 30 together, which is the answer to number 2, or angle 2, and then subtract it from 180 to get the measure of angle 1. Doesn't matter how you do it. It all comes out to be the same. So let's see if you can do one on your own. Find the value of x for me. Pause the video and find x. Okay, let's see how you did. So hopefully you realized that this exterior angle is equal to the sum of the 2 remote interior. So see, this angle here touches the x, so it's not the one I want. I want the ones on the opposite of that. So angle x is equal to 21 degrees plus 34 degrees. So x degrees then is equal to 55 degrees. So this exterior angle is 55 degrees. Simple as that. Now let's see if we can bump it up a notch. What if I give you something like this? Oh my goodness. You got 60 for one angle, you got 2x for another angle, and you got 94 for an exterior angle. And again, it says find x. Well, based on that theorem we just talked about, I know I can take this angle and this angle, add them together, and it equals 94. So let's see if we can just set that up as an equation. 60 plus 2x equals 94. Okay, so the first thing, there's not anything I can put together, so I need to move the 60 over to be with the 94, and we do that by adding its opposite. We subtract, we end up with 2x is equal to 34, and now I've got to multiply by 2, so I do a divide by 2, and I end up with x is equal to 17. So x is 17. Now if I wanted to find the actual measure of this angle here, I would then take the 17, plug it back in. So 2 times 17 gives us 34 degrees. Okay. So let's try one more. One more, a little bit more challenging. Let's see if we can do this one. I'll pause the video and see if you can find x for me. Okay, let's see how you did. So we know that this 100 is our exterior angle, and it is equal to the sum of the two remote interior. So I'm going to take the 2x plus 3 and the 51 and set it equal to 100. Now I do have some things I can put together in this one. The 3 and the 51 could go together. So you get 2x plus 54 equals 100. Now we subtract 54 from this side, subtract 54 from the other side as well, and you end up with 2x is equal to 46. Well, how do I get rid of the multiply by 2? I do a divide by 2 on both sides, and I end up with x equaling 23. So the value of x is 23. Now if I want to find the value of that remote interior angle, I then just take the 2, multiply it by the 23, and add 3 to it. So 2 times 23 gives us 46, plus 3 gives us 49. So the value of that angle is 49 degrees. Okay, so let's review what we've talked about today. We talked about two basic theorems. One is the triangle angle theorem, which states that the three angles of a triangle will always equal 180 degrees. The other theorem that we've talked about today is the exterior angle theorem, that the two remote interior angles, if I were to add those together, I will get the exterior angle. So those are the types of problems that we're going to be working with. So until next time.